Real man's job preparations task in Harbor, Quebec. Hello everybody and welcome to a very special episode of SnowRunner here at Opafet Gaming. You're listening to the Opafet. Today we are working on Real Man's Job Preparations, which is a task that's part of the Pétrole, a Platform Quebec contract. We're going to try our best to deliver this huge Oil Rig Salvage Semi-Trailer with our ZiKZ 605R to the oil platform in Harbor. Now, going down into the place where we got to deliver this large trailer is a long ice road. So we're going to be divvying this job up into two sections. The first part's going to be done by the ZiKZ 605R, and the second part's going to be done by the Avenhorn A15. Because we don't have any chains on the ZiKZ, we're going to hand off the job to the Avenhorn, because I'm not sure if we can drive and pull this huge trailer down an ice road. So we're just on the safe side. But we got long ways to go before we get there. First we got to try and attach this trailer to the truck, which we seem to be having a little bit of trouble with, because he's sitting in a snowbank there and we slide over to the one side, so we can't quite get lined up with it. But I think we got it this time. Now, unbeknownst to me, I did not realize that a little bit further forward. There we go. I did not realize that we were using not really the wrong truck. Well, the wrong truck for this job. We were testing out the ZiKZ. We wanted to try it on several different jobs and see how tough it was and how good of a truck it was. And when you watch this video, which, by the way, I might add, is a little bit longer than my normal videos, but boy, I tell you, well worth the wait if you want to know how to get this job done in the easiest way possible, but maybe use a different truck. I think if I had to do this again, I would probably either use the slider or the Avenhorn. But like I said, I was working on trying to figure out and find out what kind of capabilities the ZiKZ has. So we are here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map in Lake Ribiere, at the bottom of the quarry, and we've got to climb out of this quarry, go around and around until we get to the top, and then we got to drive across the bottom, more or less, of the map to the far right-hand side where the tunnel is, and then we got a ways to go after that. Let's just try and tackle this one piece at a time. Now, I found the ZiKZ has a very low profile, so lots of power, lots of torque, got a few little different add-ons you can put on there, like you can put a flatbed on the back. Of course, you can't have the little extra module on there and the spare tire, and you can change it up a little bit. So I put the fifth wheel on. I got the little extra module that I believe carries an extra, I don't know how many repair points, that extra 40 liters of fuel. Anyhow, as I'm climbing up here trying to pull this up, we get stuck every once in a while. Now, at first it didn't dawn on me quite right away, but after a few times I started to realize that the ZiKZ has such a low profile that when you're pulling a fifth wheel, when you roll the stabilizer legs up in the front of the trailer, sometimes they don't go up quite high enough. Now, on fifth wheel trailers, the 5 cargo slot trailer, as you can see there, we're high centered and the wheels are not on the snow yet. And that is the big con on this truck, I believe, that I found in the jobs. Now, there again, if you have fairly flat ground, it's not a problem. But here in Quebec, there's a lot of up and down and a lot of snow banks, and you can get high centered quite easily. So keep that in mind when you're picking your truck to pull a long trailer the next time. Anyhow, we're going to try and do our best, and we're not going to give up. We don't give up quite that easily, but we are going to be experiencing a few rough patches, I guess you can call them. And sometimes you just, as you can see the trailer has got to be high centered because it lifted up the back of my truck. I believe it's going to do it again over here. Every time when you see a bump like this, we're going to have trouble. I try to keep it going as fast as I can, but it doesn't stop you from getting stuck again. You see it's lifting the truck up. So every once in a while you need a little bit of help, and if you can get through any problem areas with what you've got available in your arsenal, then the truck is still worthy for me. But as you can see, I'm having a heck of a time trying to pull it over that top little hump there, just because of the stabilizer links. Well, we keep bumping it back and forth, and there's one tiny little tree there in the corner. Lucky for the overfed, because otherwise we would have had to send up a rescue truck. Now the ZiKZ's got twin steering on the front, which, as you know, if you've been watching my videos, I do like. It creates for a more stable front end on your vehicle, plus the steering is more stable too, I feel. And over here you have to make sure with a long trailer like this that you line it up straight before you even attempt any kind of a crossing because of the off-track. The biggest issue with these trailers obviously is the off-track. You don't have to worry too much about the front part of it because that's attached to the truck, and you can see where that's going as we're just squeezing by the side there. But boy, I tell you, we've been going here for a little bit, and we're not even out of the, we're only on the second ridge of the quarry coming out. Now the ZiKZ doesn't have chains. However, in most jobs that I've experienced so far, he's been pretty good in the snow and deep mud. It's just the ice roads where the chains really become an issue, because I don't think the chains really would help you in this kind of an area. Plus, it's a pretty heavy trailer. I do believe, now I'm not sure, and you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I do believe that this is the biggest trailer in the game. Certainly the biggest one that I've pulled. I think it's got 5 rear axles. There is a 5-slot blue cargo trailer that I use for moving stuff around, and it's shorter than this one. It's got 3 axles, and it's quite a bit shorter than this one, and I thought that was long. But this one is a little bit bigger. Now when you get down over here, once we get over this little hump, you can see just up ahead on the left hand side there's a bunch of debris, metal debris on the side of the track there. You gotta take this turn extra wide, because if you don't, your trailer will get caught on that debris sitting there, as you will soon find out, like I did. You think you're taking it wide enough, but I would take it up quite a bit higher. And I have ever since this job. Because here we get stuck because something is holding onto the trailer. So we're just gonna see right back there. Okay, there's only one way to go, unless we gotta go bring it a little bit higher. Well, it looks like we're... Oh, here we go. Okay. That was a big boulder we were stuck on too at the same time. Now the ZiKZ doesn't... He's not a real big problem with the boulders, but once they get a little bit bigger, like the one that I'm sitting on top of right now, then they start to become an issue. So you should avoid them, if you can, of course. And then we finally get around that metal, and we're right up in front of that tree, and believe it or not, you cannot bend. Some of these trees, they look like you could just run right over them. That's not one of them. For some reason, well, now it broke over. Well, maybe I was wrong. Anyhow, when you come up over here, we have to take a hairpin turn back towards the way we came almost. So we want to take this as wide as possible, and the only way you can do that is to ride on this ridge of snow on the edge of the track. Now, the reason for it, of course, obviously, is to try and keep that trailer as far over to the left as possible. And she's over quite a ways, so I figured right about here, I would kind of slide off and get a little bit of extra traction down on the tracks there to pull this thing up. And then just try and take it a little extra wide, and the trailer should be over far enough. But it's a pretty tight turn. The back end of that trailer is hanging off the edge. Well, I tell you, that is one long trailer. I think I've pulled one like this in one of the other maps. I can't remember which one it was, but I think I did pull it in one of the other maps, and they had one of this. But this area here in Quebec, a little bit difficult. Now, we got to pull it back because, of course, we can't go over those two big boulders there to the left. But the one there in front of the truck, we're going to have to ignore it and just pull ourselves over it with a winch. And hopefully that'll pivot that trailer around that tree. Wow. Still stuck there. Still need a little bit more help. Oh, slipped off. And there we go. Okay. Then when you climb up here, when you get up to the top there, you can see where the rock is in the center. We got to turn to the right. Now, I probably should have gone into deep snow in hindsight, because once you turn to the right, shortly thereafter, you got to line yourself up for this little wooden bridge. There's two little wooden bridges with a cement outcropping in between, joining the two together. But you got to be lined up better than what I did. Because if you don't line up properly, you see, now if I had to come off of the ridge there, I would have been a little bit straighter. Now, before we tackle this, I noticed that we're running low on fuel. We should fuel up before we, because you don't want to be caught in the middle of that bridge and then run out. So we'll give them all the spare fuel, 240 liters. And we still had some in the tank. Okay. Now you can't see the bridge yet. It's up a little bit higher, but even over here, you got to try and stay as far to the left as possible. Because you got to remember one thing, your truck might be on solid ground, but if your trailer slides off, the back end of the trailer slides off, it'll pull the truck down with it. Now, here again, I should go, if you do this trip, go way over to the left, like I'm doing, but I didn't go far enough. Now, up top here is a bunch of little pine trees, and you should really pull in behind them to be able to straighten out the trailer half decent, and I didn't do that. I went in front of them. But you will see what happens, and then maybe you can avert that when it's your turn to do this in your game. Because as you can see, now you can tell the back end of the trailer is way over. Yeah, well, live and learn, I suppose. So we come around the corner here, and there again, there you can see it now. You can see it now. And you gotta pretty well go through the middle of that bridge, because on the edges, on the left and right hand side edges, some of the logs kind of stick up. And yes, they do get in the way. So we're just gonna take it really slowly. But I know that, well, look at it, you can see it. It's the best thing over here when I usually go over this bridge is I just go forward and I keep going and I don't look back. This is the very first time I ever looked back and taped it. And as you can see, the back end is sliding off. Oh! Whoa, he recovered it just at, and that was all because I didn't have the trailer lined up properly. Now, if that had slipped off, wow, I would have had to go back down into the quarry, put it back up on its wheels, and the truck too, if it would have pulled the truck down. That would have been a major disaster. Almost a major disaster. But we made it all right. We made it through, so we put that behind us as we continue on. Now, as you can see, it's starting to get dark. We've got 247 liters left, and we got to get over to the highway here, and then just for a little bit stay on the highway, and then we got to go back down on the ice and get down to ice level where they have the ice racing or ice fishing contest. It's a little ways away, but that's where my fuel trailer is that I got to fuel up on, because I only got 240 liters left. So, you know, we got to get moving. Now, normally I would have gone to the right side of that pole, but I found out that if you go on this side, the ice road isn't really an issue, but if you go on the other side of it, you can't pull it up that little extra part of the incline. So we gotta, and then I'm having trouble over here, I tell you. If we can just get it a little bit further across the road, we can grab the snow on the other side and then get a little bit of traction. But and there's nothing to winch on. Okay, so oh, this is gonna be a pain. I'm glad I tried going up this high and not quite as far down as I did over there. I think what we should do is just go back or down and go on the left-hand side of the next pole and go up. That I think is going to work a little bit better. So as you can see, the ice roads, they're worrisome, and this is the reason why the Avenhorn is waiting for us in harbor at the top of the snowy hill where the ice road begins. But like I said, that's still a little ways away. Now just up here, of course, because we're in a little bit flatter road than the ice road, not such a big deal, but I'm going to drive on the side anyhow, just for more traction. And just up here, we're going to hang a left and go back down the hill. This is the easiest, well, it's not really all that easy, but it is the easiest and shortest route to one of the tunnels that goes over to harbor. Now the other tunnel is a little bit closer by, but this tunnel is closer by where we got to go, and that's why we're going this way, because there's different directions that you could go, but they all got problem areas. Now here too, you know, you try to keep the off track of the trailer going down the middle, but you as a truck, you're going to go back and forth from side to side because you got to keep your traction going, and that means the trailer is going to lean from left to right, back to left. If you're not used to that and you're pulling a trailer like this, boy, I tell you, it gets really intense at times where you think it's going to flip over. And the best thing to do probably is do some practice runs on the side somewhere with a different trailer and just flip it, and that way you won't feel bad anymore. I'll never forget the first time I flipped the trailer, and I tell you, it still feels horrible when you do it. Now we must be stuck in a little bit of a hump or something again with those stabilizer legs. But sometimes if you keep pulling, you can actually pull it through whatever you're stuck up to. I better turn on some headlights so we can see where we're going. There's the ice level. As you can see on the truck in red, those are your spare fuel, and they're all empty. And down to 187 liters, and you would think that that would be plenty of fuel to get to the middle of the ice field there, because it's not that far away. But when you're pulling this kind of weight, I didn't realize that I was going to go through quite this much fuel, but I was prepared, and I put a fuel trailer out for myself. However, it is almost too far away. Now we got a little bit of a steep hill coming down here, but I usually just pull it around the corner, let gravity take care of the descent. That usually works pretty good. Doesn't seem to be running away on me anyhow. And then down here, it's like somebody put that one snowman a little bit too far over or too close to the road. Because with the turning back and forth with the truck, I don't think he's going to survive that. But you know, the good thing about this game is that the next time you come through here, he'll be back. Now, just this little bit of swampy area here, and then we're back on the ice. And anything flat, ice level like this, the ZiKZ travels quite well on it. He can pull anything, as you can see. He's got plenty of power to pull this trailer. It's not that. It's just like I said, it's the terrain sometimes is just doesn't want to work with you. And if it doesn't want to work with you, then it's just going to make things a little difficult, which we try to avoid. Now the fuel trailer is just on the other side here. But it looks like we're going to be okay. We're going to have plenty of fuel left over. Not to go much further of a distance, but we got plenty of fuel left over that we didn't have to run. And the Avenhorn there was a different Avenhorn here. He could have always come out and brought us some fuel if we would have run out. Not really a big deal. Now, as you can see, the little logo for the tunnel has appeared on the screen, the little black tunnel logo in the yellow diamond. You might think, well, if it's on the screen, that means that it's close by, and if it's close by, then we got to be getting there pretty quick. Well, it's close by maybe as the crow flies, but we're not going to be flying as the crow does. We're going to be driving as the Opafed does, and it's going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated. So we still got a little ways to go, but we just took a nap here overnight after we fueled up the truck so that we can continue back on during daylight hours and see where we are going as we are traveling across the ice. There again, if you pay attention and you watch where the frozen ice is, try not to fall through. Drive on the shiny ice, that's usually the best thing to do. Sometimes it's better Better to drive on the shiny ice than on this soft, fluffy snow. We're having a heck of a time sometimes. Well, we've got probably about, I'd say pretty close to almost half the journey under our belt here. And we haven't even left Lake Ribiere yet. We still gotta get to the tunnel. Now when I drive over this stuff, I usually only worry about where the truck goes and make sure that he's pulling on solid ice. I have no idea what happens to the trailer because, like I said, sometimes you're better off not looking back and just keep going and hope that the trailer will stay behind you. We can see it's attached, so yeah, big chunk of ice flipped up there. Oh. Must have hit something there for a second and got loose. Now we are gonna be climbing up over to the warehouse, and we're gonna be going into the complex in the south, the west end, I believe, and then we're gonna go out in the east side because we got to be heading further east to get to that tunnel. Well, the ZiKZ seems to be doing okay. I think that other than the stabilizer legs, I think that with everything else, you know, fuel consumption is not something we worry about because we put trailers out, so I don't care how much fuel it uses. Same with all the other trucks. We're looking at traction, and if you don't have the traction, do you have the capabilities to get yourself out of any problem that you get into? Just like this, we're stuck and we still get to move, so we don't have to send out a rescue vehicle. And if that's the case, then we know that at least we know that this truck can do the job if we needed to do it. Of course, there's better trucks that we can use, but we're just trying to look at the capabilities of the truck and maybe even the driver. Because, you know, when you have run into problems, it's not always the vehicle you're using. A lot of times it's the operator. Maybe not in your case, but it is in Jobefet's case. A lot of times the operator just doesn't do the right thing. Like up ahead, we are gonna get ourselves into a little bit of a pickle, all because of my own personal fault. Now, this here is another area where there's a hump of snow there, and I just get stuck on it with the stabilizer legs. So we have to yank it through with the winch. But we get through. We get through, and that's the most important part. Now, this trip from one side, from the bottom of the quarry to the tunnel, and then the rest of it, of course, also too, took a little bit longer than what you're seeing here, even though this video is a little bit longer than normal. I cut out quite a bit where I was struggling and I had problems, and I just couldn't get further ahead and even have a major catastrophe. But that's all part of the game, and as I point them out, hopefully you can avoid some of these issues. Now we're going to pull the trailer straight through here up into the bush there, and that's just, you can't see it, but we're going straight towards a hill, and just a little ways in, about 40-50 yards in, we're going to turn a tight left and just roll around on a track around the perimeter of the hill, if that makes sense. And here again, you know, because we got to turn left, we're going to try and stay a little bit extra wide to the right hand side. And it looks like it helps out. You know, it takes the turn a little bit easier. You know, unless and until you get stuck with those stabilizer arms, the ZiKZ just kind of chugs through whatever you throw at it. He doesn't stop, he just keeps going. Of course, putting something in front of the stabilizer arms is like running into a wall. You're not going to go very far once that happens. Now here we got another little test. Boy, I tell you, this was a tough area to get through, but nothing to winch on. Well, there's a log laying on the ground, but once you get by there, I don't think there's really anything to winch on. So I'm hoping that I don't have too much of an issue with the stabilizer legs here. But I'm thinking that maybe try and get a little bit closer to the rocks, because see, I'm stuck on those darn legs again. No, I think I'm gonna have to try and change the direction a little bit. I don't think he's gonna climb up there. Okay. Back him up a little bit. Just change his direction. Maybe that'll break it loose. Just go a little closer to the hill. The big rock face, I suppose. Just like that. Oh, yeah. Looked like that was just enough to get him by there. Boy, I tell you, there's some anxious moments there. But we're not over the rocky area yet. Oh, this is... I wish that the ZiKZ would have an active suspension mode so that you can lift it up higher. That would have helped out, but we don't have that. Now, here again, about the only thing that you've got left to do to try, because the trees are too small, so you can't winch on them. And if you wonder why I'm pulling all the little ones down, it's because when you get up a little bit higher, you're going to have to do that anyhow to get to the bigger one, because they just keep hooking on to the small ones. So the only thing we've got left is to change the direction a little. That's all we got. So that's what we're going to try and do. Just move it over to the left a little. Don't give up, because he's starting to move. Oh. It looks like he's wanting to break free. There we go. All right. Wow, that was definitely tough. That was definitely very tough to get through there. Oh, and now we get up to the top here and we get stuck again. Oh, this is just maddening. This is just maddening. Okay, we gotta pull a little bit on that tree, because we're not gonna get it anywhere like this. Well, that doesn't seem to be working. Oh boy, oh boy. I hate to give up on the job now. Okay, let's give it another shot here. Maybe we can move the front end over. Oh, that broke the stabilizer legs loose. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now we got, after all that, we've got probably one of the toughest turns in this job coming up ahead here. If you look down below at ice level, you see tracks going straight, which is the extension of this road that we're on. However, there's two 90-degree turns coming up before you get to that. When you get to the, now, I'm going to go over quite a ways. And I've probably never gone over quite this far. I've been through here a few times. But I figure if I go over as far as I can, then maybe I can roll the trailer down the hill a little bit easier, because I had some tough times going down this hill. But I can't seem to be breaking through it over here. Okay, here she goes. I found that every time when I go through here, the trailer ends up rolling over top of those rocks, but the truck's got to get through first, and the truck's got to get through clean. So here he goes. We're just going to pull him through and then slowly roll the trailer behind us and hope that he's just going to follow us. Just like, oh, no. Okay, there we go. Oh, no. Like I said, I flipped my truck more than once, and it's not always a lot of fun. So we brought the Avenhorn from the ice that we passed earlier on, and we flipped the truck and the trailer back on its wheels, and away we go again. Boy, I tell you, this has been one adventurous journey. One real adventurous journey, full of pitfalls and full of problems. And we're not there yet. We're still on Lake Ribiere. But we're getting really close to the tunnel. Just got a little ways to go. Cover a little bit of ice. Do a little bit of climbing. And keep our fingers crossed. Now this is the normal way of going is just leave the road here and go over the water, go over the ice. It's a little bit shorter and easier route, because if you go to the right, there's a little bridge there, and you got to make a 90-degree turn, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work. But of course, as long as we don't, those stabilizer legs just came free there. As long as they stay out of the, they keep us from moving, then we're going to be okay. Now we got to climb up this little hill here, and near the top there, well, you can already see it. There's a tree laying across the road, a dead tree. And if you run over that tree near the crown, you're okay. But if you go a little bit too far away from the top, the tree will grab a hold of you, and it'll bend, and it won't let you go. And just to show you, it's what happened to me. I didn't do it for the video. I was trying to stay as far to the left as possible, because we got to make a right-hand turn then. A right turn then. So I wanted to stay as far left as I could, but the tree's in the way. So as we hit the tip, see, and I was a little bit too far over, and then he won't let you go. So then you gotta move over a little bit, change direction, and then he'll break free. But now we're way too far to the right-hand side. So we're gonna back up a little bit and just give us a little bit of extra room. Like I said, I kind of learned with that little bridge, but I still didn't move over far enough. It's still not quite. The trailer is not lined up properly with the angle, but we'll make it work, one way or another. And the tunnel is only just up ahead there. It's only maybe about 100 yards away. Now, we're lined up okay, and we should be all right, but we have stabilizer legs issue again. So we're gonna have to use the old trusty old winch. Remember when if you've ever watched any of my videos, when I first started making these videos, I said make sure you learn how to use that winch, because boy, I tell you, he's gonna be your best friend. And he was. And he's going to be again. As you can see, boy, I tell you, we keep getting hooked. Well, we spent quite a bit of time there, and I'll save you the agony as we finally got him pulled out of there. And we're just about at the tunnel. Boy, I tell you, we still got a little ways to go, so stay tuned. Well, here we are, Harbor, Quebec. We still got a little ways to go, like I said, so let's get moving. Now we're just gonna pull up ahead here and take a sharp left around the corner there and head down to ice level. What did I tell you? This has been one long journey, but it looks like we're on the second leg, and hopefully we're gonna be okay. Once we get down to ice level, we still got one little hump there left to go, and hopefully the stabilizer legs won't get caught on that. And then once we get to ice level, at least we'll be driving on a flat surface, so it'll be a little bit easier. Well, a little bit easier. Still got to make sure we don't fall through the ice. There again, I think I've preached quite a bit about driving on the black ice, the black shiny ice with the little lines that are drawn down, which that's solid ice, and you can really tell the difference between the texture and the surface of the ice when you look. So just be a little careful and go a little bit slower if you are not quite sure which way to go. Always seems that every time I go through here, I take a different route. You know, a little bit over one side or the left-hand side of the hole in the ice, or instead of the right. But I did find out up here where we got to cross from one side of the waterway to the other side, and go right through the middle there. And I did find the absolute best path to take. Now, if you can look, you can see the shiny ice there, and you can see there's a hole in the middle of the ice. But you got to take that. You got to go past it on the right-hand side. Now, you can go past it on both sides, but on the left there, you'll fall through a little bit. On the right here, you turn, and right over by the edge of the hole there, you turn left there, and then you just kind of drag the trailer over it, because he's got four axles hitting the ground, so he just rolls over top of the open hole, and voila, piece of cake. And we just boogie along the bottom of the hill here, along the edge of the ice, till we get to the tracks up ahead there that you can see. And we're going to be once again going four-wheeling into deep snow. Now at the top of this hill is where the Avenhorn is, the Avenhorn A15. It's going to take over to take this trailer all the way down the ice road. Not quite sure how the ZiKZ would perform on the ice road without chains, especially pulling a trailer as heavy as this one. So we're going to hand off the job to the Avenhorn. It's a tandem job here. But we got to get up there first. We'll shift her into the high gear of the low range and see if that will help enough. I think we're going to be able to get up to the top here, but I don't think we're going to be able to pull the trailer over top of that little hump. As you can see, it's lifting the back end of my truck up. Well, there's one little tree there. Not that one. That little pine, we would have just yanked that out. But this little tree, dead tree on the side here, he seems to be sturdy enough, and he'll help us just get over it. Well, he helped us move forward a little bit, but not quite over it. We're going to have to get a little bit more help from him. As you can see, the trailer is just kind of hanging there. No, that's definitely the problem. The saddle is just too low for these big trailers. Okay, got it by there. And we got a couple more bad spots along the way here before we get up to the top. Right, one's right here. Just around that corner up ahead here is a, well, first we got to get past this rock that's sitting on the side of the track here. Yeah, that's what I think we're going to have to take another bite at it and just move over a little bit further to the left. We're going to have to back this baby up. Yeah, see the leg is right, the stabilizer leg is right on the rock on the side there. You're not going to pull it past there. You have to just go over a little bit. Just like that, just to clear that rock. And as soon as you cleared that rock, now we got to go over another little bump of snow, and we're going to get stuck up here. But you know, even though we got stuck quite a few times because of those stabilizer legs, if they wouldn't have been a problem, we would have been through all of this already. We would have probably already have it delivered. But that's the biggest problem area here. Now, once again, over here, I had quite a bit of trouble getting through here because I got to get up to it and then try to pull over. And I'm sure the trailer is going to get high centered on there, but you can't go around the left-hand side of those boulders because then you'd be at way too much of an angle. You'd probably tip your trailer. And I think one tipping in a journey is enough. So, but here we are. Like I said, it took a little while, a little bit of jockeying back and forth, but we did eventually get it through, and it's still attached. So I guess we should give him kudos for that. There we go. It looks like he's broke loose and he's moving again. Now you want to take this a little bit wider, but you see, you can't go too far because the back end of the trailer is already over quite a bit, and you don't want it sliding off the side of the cliff there either. So hopefully we gone over far enough and we can get past these rocks here. And then we got a little bit of a muddy water pit over here to go through. Looks like he pulled him through there. A little bit of a muddy water snow pit with some shards of ice in it, and then we'll be back up at the highway. Where the Avenhorn will be waiting for us on the right hand side of the road, I believe is where I left them. He's going to chug out of here okay. There we go. There you can see the Avenhorn waiting for us up ahead. Just like that. Now I'm glad I'm handing the job over to the Avenhorn, because look at this, I'm having a little bit of trouble here too. Yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have any chains for the ZiKZ. I would have really liked to have pulled it all the way to the bottom, but I guess that wasn't to be. Which is okay, because I tell you, through all this, you know, even with the only problems I really had with the ZiKZ was the fact that those stabilizer legs were too close to the ground. And every time you went over some uneven ground, they would catch. But with a flat deck or a box deck on the back, or you know, you have no trouble with that ZiKZ. He can do just about anything you want him to do. Anyhow, we've moved over to the Avenhorn, and he's got the chains. He's got a 400-liter tank, which is down to 390, because of course I had to bring him over there. He got another 300 in the universal compartment, and he's got another 40 per jerry can on the bumper, which is, oh sorry, no, that's 20 per jerry cans. 80 on either side, 160 on the bumper. And there's 4 jerry cans there. So that's 20 per can. We're going to attach 24, 60, 80, yeah. And we're attached, and here we go. Now the rest of the trip is all ice road until we get down to the oil platform down by, I consider the docks, I suppose. Now just up ahead here on the left hand side is the garage, as you can see, which is the reason why the Avenhorn had almost a full tank of gas, or diesel fuel, whichever he drives on. Now, pulling this trailer up this road, you basically, the only thing that you're really worried about is the off track. You don't, you know, you got to go from side to side. You got to use the whole road, because if you don't, he will be dragging along the cliffs and any poles on the side of the road, so you don't want to do that, because that could end up giving you trouble. So we just try to use the off, keep attention to the off track and drive it accordingly. Now our down pointing black arrow on the yellow diamond has appeared on the screen, and just like earlier on when I was talking about the tunnel emblem, the arrow signifies the drop-off spot is close by, but that would be if we were going as the crow flies, but we're going as the Avenhorn drives, so it's going to be a little bit longer than that. So here, this is going to be your very first test right here. It's a steep hill, it's a sharp turn, and it's icy. So I've got it in the high range of the low gear, and I'm going to put it down into low gear in a second here, so that I can have the motor of the truck and the transmission slow it down, rather than using the brakes by themselves. Because even though you have chains on, if you have a huge weight behind you and it starts pushing when you're going down an icy road, steering will become, well, obsolete, optional. You won't be able to steer, because it'll just push you straight down. Now I should have gone a little bit closer to the guardrail there, but try and stay as close as you can. Oh, you will bounce off of it if you hit it. But as you can see, that trailer is just barely staying on the road, and that's by going as wide as we can. And this turn, this corner, is an easier corner than one coming out. There is one that's really tight. So this gives you a little bit of practice before you get to the really bad one. But if the Avenhorn can't do it, and I did say the Avenhorn is the best truck in my garage as far as I'm concerned, that's my preference. That might not be true for other people, but it's my preference. If the Avenhorn can't do it, I don't think of another truck. I can't think of another truck that could, because the capabilities of this truck are equal to the Slider, the Elephant, the Chimera, the Plaid 450, and trucks like that, the Kenworth 963. This thing ranks right in there with the top trucks, and it can do some things better than the other, and some of the trucks can do some things better than the Avenhorn. But overall, he's the best truck in the game as far as the Opafet's concerned. Now when you're going fairly flat, you can go a little bit faster, and you can see on the road too, there's some of the patches of the road are shiny and some are dull. And the ones that are dull, obviously, like I tested them out, the dull ones you get a little more traction on, and the shiny ones are a little slipperier. So like you can see it right there where it shines off the road. I think the Avenhorn is doing a spectacular job. We're almost down at the bottom. Now we got one more decent turn, and that really tight turn that I was talking about is coming up. Not right here, but a little further down the road. But here again too, you know, try and stay as wide as you can. I mean, staying wide will do two things for you. Number one, it'll give you the optimum room for turning for the trailer, but it'll also give you a little bit of extra traction too for the truck. Which traction I wasn't really too worried about, not for going forward, but for slowing down, I am. So we just, you know, when we take the turn, we just take our time getting back on the road. We don't care if we're driving over the snow a little bit for a little while, because that makes no difference. It just gives you a little more traction, that's all. Now we're going to go straight down, and at the end of this straight section will be another turn to the right, and that is a really tight turn. But the Opafet's got faith in the Avenhorn, and I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to make it through there. Almost down to the bottom, and this has probably been one of the toughest jobs I have done to date, where I had to hand it off to a different truck, use two trucks, and like I said, the video is a little bit longer than expected, but boy, I tell you, well worth the watch if you want to get this job done and you're not quite sure how to do it and you'd like to see it done. Then you can look at this one and you can decide which vehicle you want to use or which one you've got available. Now they're pushing you to go to the right hand side here, of course, with the boulders on the road, but just right past the boulders, go over to the left as soon as you can so that you can get the trailer moved over as far as you can. Because as you can see, that's a tight turn. Now you don't even have room to jockey back and forth. You got to be careful of those. I think I hit the guardrail behind the snow or underneath the snow. And I'm trying to keep it as close to the side as possible. And when we look back, as you can see, it's starting to tilt because it's riding on the ridge on the other side there. But we don't have any more room. It has to go through that way. I'm thinking maybe I should have drove the truck on the other side of the guardrail. That would have given me a wider berth. Might have to try that next time. Anyhow, we got through the corner, and we are now in the final approach of the runway here. The drop-off point is at the end of the dock. And at the entrance there, you see the slider elephant, slider ST816 elephant. After he finished his last job, unfortunately, whoever planted all these little pines here is going to have to repair them for me. I needed to make sure that I got this trailer by here. Now we're just going to go right through the middle here. I could have gone to the left here, but it would have been a little bit of a tight turn near the end of the dock because we've got to have that central section of the dock that goes way out by itself. So I thought we'd go to the center here, get a little bit more room, and then just slowly head out to the end. Absolutely fantastic. Awesome video. Really enjoyed this one. It was a very tough job. Yeah, we had a few problems, but we got it figured out. We managed to get through it all right. And now that we're at the end, we are going to successfully deliver the Oil Rig Salvage Semi-Trailer, the oil platform. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you back at OpenFed Gaming again real soon. You've been spending a little bit of time with me, the OpenFed.